One thing we evangelicals have lamented for over 35 years now, and that's that we were silent during civil rights. We sat that one out. White evangelicals, for the most part, is who I'm talking about. In many ways, this is an opportunity to not be silent. We're taking a border trip today to Nogales, Mexico.
We're all very excited about this trip.
For the purpose of helping get in touch with our broken immigration system, the pain and suffering that our immigrants are facing. So we're expecting something big.
My prayer today as we head to the border to learn about immigration reform is that it would not just be new information, but it would really be something that would break and open our hearts. My greatest desire is that it would also change the way that the church responds to our immigrant brothers and sisters.
The system has to change, which means I have to interject myself into the political process. We're out front of the Catholic Bishop's office in Tucson. Bishop Gerald Kakanis. He's been a national spokesperson on the issue, and he's given us half an hour to meet with him.
People are on the move, and our society and the modernization of society has made it possible for people to see an alternative way of life for themselves, and they are pursuing that.
As any issue, there are many different opinions, and within the church itself there are divisions. But again, to be in dialogue with one another, to hear what people's concerns are, what their fears are. Fear is a very powerful human emotion, and if that is what drives us, it can lead us in a poor direction, I think. So to be able to hear people's fears, to alleviate some of those fears so that they can see the situation as clearly as possible, I think is beneficial.
And listening to the bishop today, I just was reminded of the fact that justice issues are very complex. And in order to achieve any level of justice, we have to really broaden the scope of who we work with. And as an evangelical, maybe evangelicals don't necessarily think of or work often alongside of Catholic workers, but at the same time, they're so complex as issues that we have to think broader. And was so grateful to hear just the intelligence and the passion and the commitment to Christ that the bishop shared today.
Our teaching is clear in the Word of God.
And I'm grateful that he's in a position of power and influence to be able to really take leadership in this cause of caring justly for our brothers from especially Mexico.
Ugly scar in the land. It's a border that really separates a lot of families, and it is a symbol to Mexico from the U.S. that we're not neighbors.
Really?
Oh yeah, we did. This is a wall that went up in the mid-90s under Operation Gatekeeper and Hold the Line. So it went up around the three major urban areas between the U.S. and Mexico. So Nogales here, El Paso, Juarez, and San Diego, Tijuana. So it was the first time that the urban areas were closed off and made people have to start crossing a little bit further out of the cities.
Dos noches y un día caminando por el desierto.
So she was walking for 2 nights and 1 day in the desert. So she was arrested by the Border Patrol, and they kept her for a day, and then she was deported.
You know, many people try to put it in political terms or in economic terms, which are both very, very valid. You need to. But there's also the human terms. You know, these are faces, these are people, these are moms and dads, these are children that are all being affected just tremendously.
You know, as we stood there on the other side of the border and we saw those crosses of people who had died, just on a human level, your heart went out, knowing that someone was just going for new life or better life. And most Americans are, except for the Native Americans, are immigrants, all coming for the same thing.
I hope that church can stand up and, don't be silent about it.
After today, the immigration issue is no longer out there. It's no longer someone else's issue.
I think that one of the good things that happens in an experience like this is the sense of solidarity.
I think some people still kind of are a little unconvinced. And so I hope we leave changed and overwhelmed with the power of what happens when you see faces and realities and you hear stories and you know what really is going on.